In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing The Power of the Dog. The Power of the Dog is directed by Jane Campion. The screenplay is by Jane Campion. It's based on the book of the same name by Thomas Savage. And the movie stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, and Cody Smith-McPhee. Now, this is an interesting movie from start to finish. It's a Western drama. I want to get that out of the way. And it tells the story of Phil Burbank, who is played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and his brother George Burbank, Jesse Plemons. They're so-called have a ranch, and they're really, really rich for the family because they do all this ranching and stuff. And Jesse Plemons falls in love with Kirsten Dunst's character, Rose Gordon, who is one of those ones who has a restaurant and she does all this stuff for the local people and everything. And she has a son, Peter Gordon, and evidently she lost her husband to something. And the interesting thing is the son is trying to find out things. He does things on his own, and his mother's really, really nice. But once she marries the character of George Burbank, things start going crazy. You can tell that the interesting thing about this movie is that Benedict Cumberbatch's character of Phil Burbank is really interesting and very different than what you usually see in a Western. He's really dry. There is a drawl. And, when you hear the footsteps of him coming, people stop. People are afraid of his character, literally afraid of his character. He just has that on-screen presence where it's like, oh, okay, Phil Burbank is coming. You need to calm down. Basically, you can tell the dynamic, how close Phil and George are as brothers. But once George marries Rose, things take a turn. You see Phil getting jealous of things, and he just starts annoying the character of Rose, and she really can't take it anymore. So she starts to turn to alcohol. She becomes an alcoholic just to, stay away from, Benedict Cumberbatch's character. The movie is very interesting because it's 2 hours and 6 minutes, and it's 126 minutes long. But it's just a slow pacing of good filmmaking, I want to say. Jane Campion does a phenomenal, fantastic job of how this movie works. And it's interesting because you think, okay, there's going to be cowboys, this and that. No, it's a normal Western drama, but not a Western drama where you want to see cowboys and everything, because that's not mentioned at all that much. But there is a character named Bronco Henry who was really, really close with the character that Benedict Cumberbatch plays. And, he goes out every now and then to, fixate and work on the saddle that he sat on, wiping it down, polishing it, and everything. And I do want to say there are a lot of innuendos in this of sexual tension with how things are done and how things are put together. And you can really see that in this. And as the story progresses and as the movie goes on, we find that, Benedict Cumberbatch's character has a secret. And that secret is really, really interesting. And I don't want to give it away because, they don't really say what that secret is, but you can tell that it's very, very different, and it's just a really quiet hush-hush thing. If you understand what's happening in the movie, then you know the secret that Benedict Cumberbatch has as the character of Phil Burbank. The character is so dirty and gritty, but it's done so well. And the character of Peter, played by Cody Smith-McPhee, is really, really good. He doesn't have that much screen time, but Benedict Cumberbatch is the one that actually is front and center. He's really steps up to carry this movie from start to finish. And when you see how the movie ends, it's really, really interesting. And basically, The Power of the Dog is a play on and is for a mention of where it's the Book of Common Prayer to the burial rite, and then it's so-called the Psalm of 22:20. It's deliver my soul from the sword, my darling, from the power of the dog. So it has something to do with a burial that happens in this movie. And, they don't really express what that is until the very end of the movie. And it's interesting how everything is put together. There are certain things characters do in this that you really question at times. Like, okay, is there a plot hole in this that I'm missing? But the movie, based on sound design and filmmaking, is really, really good. It's really quiet. But once the so-called aspect of the horses, or there's water trickling, or the playing of a banjo, or piano, or how Benedict Cumberbatch's character in the movie says piano, which is really funny, and it actually made me burst out laughing really, really hard. It's really hilarious how he confronts every single character. He calls his brother Fatso in this. So the bond between him and his brother in this movie is really, really interesting. But like I said, the dynamic of how this movie is made and how Jane Campion directed it based on a screenplay, which was based on the 1967 novel of the same name, is really, really intriguing and interesting. The sound design, like I said, is really quiet. But then you hear Cumberbatch's character walking into the house. You hear the spurs hitting the hard wooden floor. It's just, it's really well done. And even when he's making a rope and, using rawhide, you can hear the tightness of the rawhide being pulled. It's really interesting and really quite done really, really well. This is one of my top movies of 2021. I love the writing aspect of it. I loved how Benedict Cumberbatch took his character of Phil Burbank and did something that I don't think any other Western could do. Of course, this has many similarities with certain aspects of what actually this movie is, because it's the power of the dog. People are like, is there a dog involved? No, the power of the dog is mentioned at the end of this movie, and I did mention it what it was. So it's really fun, and while I was having a hard time understanding what was happening, maybe the first 45 minutes to an hour, it really started picking up after the hour mark of this movie, when the character of Peter, Cody Smith McPhee's character, comes and stays with his mother and his new stepfather, George Burbank. And I do want to say that Christian Dunst gave a tremendous role as an alcoholic in this, and Jesse Plemons as the laid-back, understanding brother was really good. It definitely is more so a, how do I want to say it, like an evening out of how brute and how crazy Benedict Cumberbatch's character of Phil Burbank is. So for me, The Power of the Dog gets 5 out of 5 stars. I did like this movie for what it is. It was great. The Western aspect was good, but it wasn't really fully there, which is very different from time to time. Also, the aspect of the filmmaking was good. The sound design was tremendous. The cinematography, the landscape of how things are done. The movie was shot in Otago, New Zealand, and it's such a beautiful thing, and the setting itself is great, and it's just interesting how Jane Campion really, took this movie and made it her own. This movie is getting rave reviews for the awards seasons of 2021, and I do want to say I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm pretty sure that Benedict Cumberbatch will win Best Actor for this role as Phil Burbank. I can see Jane Campion winning Best Director for certain awards, and also seeing this movie win Best Picture, and maybe Best Cinematography, Best Editing, and definitely Best Sound Design. So I'm curious to see what awards this movie wins, and it's getting rave reviews, and like I said, it's my top one of my top movies of 2021. So let me know in the comment section below what you thought about The Power of the Dog. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? And will you be checking it out now that I reviewed it? And it did premiere on Netflix, and it came out November 17th, 2021. So, be sure you check it out. If you like Westerns, if you like Benedict Cumberbatch, the reason I watched is because I love Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor. He's really has an arc about where he, who he plays in his movies, from playing Doctor Strange in Marvel to playing this role in a Western movie. It's really, really interesting, and he's going to be an Oscar winner for sure, and I feel like he's going to win an Oscar for this movie. So let me know also in the comment section below, do you think this movie will win the big awards during award season? Let me know in the comment section below. And also let me know what rating you would give The Power of the Dog. And did you like this movie for what it was? Do you think it was slow going? Was it dry in a way with how you usually see Western movies? And did you like the aspect of what Jane Campion did with her directing and writing? Let me know in the comment section below about the questions I just asked. And I'll see you guys in the next review video.